Report. All right. Again, good morning. This roundtable is on USPS outstanding payables, some tips, tricks, and did you knows kind of thing. So please jump in at any point if I don't clarify well enough, uh, or you can contribute if you learn something yourself on what I'm going over. Uh, we'll save the end to go over anything that's not tied to the outstanding payables. So if you have questions about payroll, other issues, we'll hold off and we can do some of that at the end. But for right now, we're going to focus on the outstanding payables. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the things I like to recommend, and this is more geared towards the new people, um, when you come to your outstanding payables grid, instead of coming here and I'm sorry, instead of checking like boxes like this to pay things, I don't need these, they're at the end of the month. Things are set up on cycles, they could be set up. So for me, I just did my last payroll yesterday. I mean, my first pay of the month. So I only wanted to post my every payroll, um, payables, outstanding payables. At the end of the month, I just add that onto it so I can pay them all. Are you familiar? I think probably all of you are familiar with this, but for those of you who are newer, you control this from your core and payroll item configuration. And when you go in there, you can see the payment cycle right here. And that's what controls it. So this makes your life easy in the sense of you don't have to go through and quickly check all the boxes of what you want to pay. You can just push over that and it gets rid of anything that was monthly since I selected every payroll. Okay. One thing that I always recommend when you have outstanding payables, uh, there are some that you will see that will only be employer share, such as the 400 SCRS here. Okay. Even though it's not paying, it's a board share. And I know it doesn't create a payment, but you always want to post those too, because all it does is gets it off your grid and keeps your grid clean. We want less confusion and more organization. So I always tell the newer people, make sure you post those, even though they're the board share. The other thing I wanted to point out, and if I'm going too fast, please tell me to slow down. I won't be offended. The payables, it will never allow you to post a zero payment. Okay. So if I tried to post this 400 here, I might get away with it because it's a board share. But if I had a zero payment for something, at net zero, I could have that issue. I always recommend, I have a lot of recommendations. I act like I know it all, but I always recommend that people print out the payables report before they do anything. Personally, on my payroll checklist, this is done for me right after I post payroll because I use that payables report to check all my employer distributions, make sure everything looks right before I move on. Because this is where your true payment is going to be made from, whatever's in this grid, not what's on your payroll item, summary, or detail report from that payroll grid, from where you post your payroll. So I always want to double check what's going on because if I find an error, all I have to do is go back a step and unpost, and I have the ability to fix it. The other reason I suggest this as well is because once you post these payables, this is gone. You can't get the report. Now, it will be in your document storage, because all our file archives were moved over. The report will be there, but it might not be the way you want it to be, such as page break after each payroll item. I like mine payroll item breaks, and I believe just you could talk to your seasoned players here. You want them separate. So when you make your payments for your federal, SCRS, Medicare, those types of payments, and you have that receipt from posting the payment online, you can post that together and keep it in a file. You don't want front and back. You don't want half of a payroll item from a different payroll item on the same page. So it is always recommended that when you do this, that you select page break. Okay. And again, the cycles, this is where the cycles come in handy. I don't have to go down here and click, okay, I pay this, I pay this, I pay this. You don't have to do all that. Oh no, sorry. You can just pick the cycle and it will print all those. Summary in full. Okay. Always submit payment. The other thing that has become an issue with some of the um, the newer ones, and that's not a criticism by any means. We all started where you are. You don't want to pay any invoices from any outstanding taxes or what have you from those payroll item detail or summary reports. You always want to pay the amounts when you get the amounts to pay. That's what I'm talking about, just the amounts. You want to get them from here because as you can see, I have a couple negatives here from a voided check. So what would happen is I need to short that check. So if you do that and you pay that amount, then you're going to process them out here and it's not going to be the same amount. So I always suggest that you come in here and pay for whatever you want to see what the 001 federal should be. I'm sorry, check that. And then you can come over here and see what your payment amount's going to be. In this case, it's 692 goes with it. There's your total payment. When to use a payable adjustment and when not to. This gets confusing for some of the newer people, and I'm going to try to explain it. And here's where I need the seasoned people. If you've run into anything different, let me know. So let's say that you sent your check to uh, Ohio Deferred, your payment. However, you created the check and made the payment prior to being notified that an employee has dropped their deduction. So what they do is they might say, they might send the money back to you. Okay, so you get that money back, $50 payment. Missy is no longer contributing, so you're going to deposit it into your payroll account and you're going to refund it. Okay, that's no problem. However, the refund creates a negative. So you are going to short that Ohio deferred payment. You don't want to do that because you've already received the money back from Ohio deferred. So you would come in here to payables adjustment and create. See if who's in here. No, thought I was in there. Uh, we'll do, oh, that's why, because I have a different name in there. So payroll item, I don't have a high deferred in here, but we'll just say this is a high deferred. And I'm going to put a positive amount to offset the negative amount from the refund. I always like to put a description here. So how about we offset refund? And then I would post it. Now, when you create a payables adjustment here in the outstanding payables, it does not do anything to the payroll item record itself. You have to make manual adjustments for, like say the amount applicable gross, total gross, that type of thing. It does not, this will not affect the payroll item itself. All it's going to do is it's going to come over here, you find it. No, I should have stayed there. And for 590, you can see where here's where I took this was a way withholding and you would see a negative normally, and this is the would be the positive to offset that so it does not affect the check. The way you know this is an adjustment is there's no pay date. So does that make sense to you about payables adjustments? Any questions about that? Okay. You usually want to use this when a company refunds the money to you so you don't short a check. Or if you forgot to withhold money from somebody for a high deferred and you should have, they should have been on this, you can make an adjustment here to add their money and then just catch up with them on the next pay. Okay. Okay. Here's also a place for this adjustment. If you have an employee who is off long-term illness, but they're being docked because they don't have the sick time, and they pay their own, they bring the money into you. This is how you get their money onto your check. You deposit that check into your payroll account and you would add it to the check here. The thing about that though, and this is a note to keep, you have to make sure that you add that to the federal payroll item for adjustment for health insurance because they did pay their own for the month. So you do want to keep track of that. I suggest if they're off for a while, I would do it every time they gave you money. So at the end of the year, you're not going back trying to look at the times that you had to do this. Okay. Total individually, yeah, you could do that. So say I come back here and I wanted to verify that my adjustment worked the way I wanted to, because sometimes you wonder, should it be a negative? Should it be a positive? I always suggest you come and let's say I didn't do that when I did this one, and that it did net a difference. In this case, it's a negative amount, and I apologize for that, but you want to make sure that that's right because you can go in and modify a payable adjustment. Okay. But once it's posted, it's posted. You won't see it back here on this grid anymore. Okay. We have a question. Can you walk us through adding an adjustment when an employee pays for their insurance? Sure. I'm going, I'm just going to use this one. So if they pay for their insurance, and they're off long term, you come in here, you would select the correct. So in this case, mine would be, it would be, where's Anthem? 566 is Anthem. So you come in and give them wherever you need to put the payment. I would put in here like Melissa, Melissa's March share of medical insurance because there is an audit report for this that you can go and so you want to be good with these descriptions that you're going to understand them. So once you save it and you process it, you would go to core adjustments. And then it goes to your federal, not the medical, not your medical payroll item, but your federal. And the type would be health insurance. And then you could, the date, which has to be within your posting period, the amount, description, because this is in this grid forever, and then how it affects. So in this particular case, if I brought it in for March, it affects all of these. And you just save it. Did that answer your question, Andrea? Okay. Not hearing anything. Oh, there you go. Yes. What if it's in the past month? When you say in a past month that you made the payment in the past month for them, or do you mean they're paying for last month's I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by past month. Okay, well, you're typing that. Oh, there you go. Yes, we made the payment through budgetary and received the money later. Oh, so if they're reimbursing you for a payment you already made through budgetary, then you would deposit it into budgetary and create a reduction of an expenditure receipt to, reimbursement for from whatever for February insurance. Okay. Do I still need to make the adjustment to the employee? Um, hmm. Yes, you would, because they need to get credit for paying for their insurance. Would we need to do the same adjustment for an employee paying their dues or yeah, it could yes, you could do that the same. Well, let me back up. You can do the payables adjustment the same way, but since it's dues or American Fidelity disability, um, hmm, the American Fidelity disability, is that your regular medical or is that something that's voluntary, an option like an Aflac? Voluntary. Okay. So yeah, there you would make adjustments to their contribution part. So it would be core adjustments and then so we'll pretend it, I don't know, this. You would just do amount withheld because it it wasn't technically withheld, but they did pay for their share. So you want to give them credit for their W-2. Okay. Great. Thank you. You're more than welcome, Andrea. I'm glad I was able to help you. Okay. That's what I did for her. I just wanted to make sure I don't have to do anything for federal. No, you don't. You're welcome, Lindy. Good questions, guys. It helps. Okay. Sorry. Let's see. Reports. Okay, I just want to make sure I wrote down some things that I wanted to make sure I went over with you. Um, that audit report that I was speaking of, you would find that at reports, audit report, and then user payable adjustments. And then obviously you put a date range if you want to select a specific employee who may have done this. I leave it wide open just in case, but that's how, and you would generate the report and you would see who made the what? Yeah, I said that. um, a date range. She was just reminding me, but I'm pretty sure I already said you would put a date range in and then generate the report. And that helps you. That's why that description can be kind of important because if you're looking for, did we ever, how, I don't know. I'm at a law. I can't be put on a spot like this. Uh, if I ever made that adjustment for my insurance, she gave me the money. Did I actually add it to a check? There you go. That's the worst. I'm not good at that. So I got you that. And the
Melissa, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I bumped the button for my mute on my headphones. I never pay attention. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate that. So what did I leave off at that you heard? Did I do it again? Oh.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought I
You
did
were
it again.
you were on this page and you just started talking and I
Oh,
couldn't catch any of it.
got it. All right. So I tried posting these and it won't let me because I have negatives. So I'm just going to go and uncheck the negatives until I have a payroll that can offset. So let me post these. Today's date's fine. I'm just going to leave the check number. PDF post. Come on. Okay. So I created my payments. They should all be um, payees. Well, it doesn't matter on this. Okay, so here's my payments that I made. They're all electronic. That's fine. But I found that my insurance one, I forgot to add that adjustment because that employee brought me money. So I can unvoid it. And I just want to make sure. Name on payment. All right. So it's going to take me back to the first tab. All right. Here's the codes. So on insurance 566. Oh, that's the wrong amount. I need to void that. Okay, the payment was voided. Oh, this blue line. There you go. So now when you go back to outstanding payables, it's back on the grid and I can make my adjustment to add or subtract off of it. So never, if you have that issue, never worry about voiding a payee payment check because it all comes back here onto this grid like it never happened. We've had several questions about that in the past couple weeks. That's why I brought this up today. So just know if you ever need to void a payment, you can. You know what I mean? So, but you have to use a date and a current posting period. So, is there any questions on any of these voids? Any questions on payables at all? Anything with payables, a screenshot, anything? Do you need or want anything? Okay. Anybody have anything to contribute? Any ever issues they might want to share with the class? Um, to tell, maybe give tips like I ran into this and this is how I had to fix it type thing. And I keep looking that way, guys, because that's where my Zoom where I can see you in the chats. So, all right. Then that will finish the payables part and I'll open it up to any questions about payroll at all. Any issues you might have, you want to share, hey, this was a big problem I ran into. This is how we had to fix it in case anybody else has it. Anything at all, or just something in the newer people need to question. Is there anything? Mm, That's it, guys. You don't have anything for me? Okay. Well, I will, I hope some of you will be attending or all of you will be attending. Next Friday, they're having a training. Aaron will be doing, showing you the the document storage. Uh, it's all looks the same except for the new search engine. Unfortunately, standard users can't see yet, but at least to show you that it's there when they were waiting for them to add that privilege to the standard role. And then at the second part is going to be, I think Lori's doing that to show for all the inventory, those you had to have them emailed to you and to save them, and now they're ready for to be uploaded to be within the inventory instance. Okay, got a question. Where we got? Oh, okay. Are you going on vacation soon? Lori, I mean, Betsy, I'm Irish. What do you expect? It's the winter. She's so mean to me. Actually, she's not. She was very good to me. It's not that funny, Betsy. Oh, wait, I saw a second person laughed at it. Okay. Andrea has a question. She says, what is the best way to refund deductions to an employee after they are no longer employed? Okay. Thank you for asking that, Andrea. I'm glad somebody wants to be nice to me. Okay. So I'm done working. I don't have another paycheck coming. You still want to go to the, if it's an annuity, it's very important. If it's an annuity, you have to make sure there's no stop dates on any of the taxes that can be withheld. Where usually it's just federal and state. Um, but you would still come in here and you would still do, if it will go, you'd still do your error adjustment. You still have to do that. And then once you've processed that, you will go to processing, payroll item refund, and then you should see it. Um, but it will not appear here if you don't put it on the actual payroll item error adjustment, create one of those. And you would post it from here and create either a check or an ACH. That's up to you. Okay. And what's nice is if it's a sheltered payroll item, it will withhold taxes for you. Um, Probably not a lot if it's not a lot of money. Probably, depends on the amount that you're refunding. So, but that's how I recommend, Andrea, when somebody you need to refund money to get it back to them if they're not going to get another paycheck. You're welcome. Anything else? You have any more questions for me, Andrea? Because the people who won't speak up are usually the nervous ones, and you're probably helping them. No, help. Well, maybe I'll go sit out in the sun today and get that little color on my face. Is that okay with you, Betsy? Anything for anybody else? All right. You sure? Before we close, I already told you about next week's on the Friday the 13th. I don't think we have one. Do we have one the 20th? No. Okay. And then just a heads up too, I might as well just tell you, we have a conference coming up the 25th through the 27th. So you'll get the email to remind you, just so you know, plan accordingly with your payrolls because um, Wednesday afternoon we'll be traveling and Friday afternoon we'll be traveling. So we won't be able to have access to our computers, obviously, and we'll be limited since we'll be in sessions, trying to learn more about payroll and budgetary and such. So I think that is it. All right. Well, thank you for attending. I appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and a fantastic weekend. Happy St. Patty's Day. And drink lots of beer, Betsy. Just kidding. All right. Have a good time. Love you and use sunscreen. Okay, Betsy, thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I hope you got something out of this round table. Thanks for joining. I'll see you later. Bye.